So guys, preamble topic for y'all.
Mm-hmm.
As you know, this game was called Pummel Party.
Right.
So
I don't like where this is going.
Yeah, I don't know where this is going.
Where is this going?
let's play a little game of who would win in a fight. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys who would win in a fight-esque games, and you just gotta argue. Okay, so we'll start off.
Oh, I thought you meant between the four of us.
No. Well, that could be the final one. But this is like characters and stuff like that. So we'll start off with a simple one or a high-profile one. Batman versus Superman. Who would win in a fight? Go.
Superman.
I mean,
Well, okay, right. Are we doing there's no morals involved? Literally, these characters have to fight to the death, regardless.
Well, I suppose
Because the whole idea is Superman would never actually kill Batman.
Yeah, but it's who would win in a fight, not who would win in a fight to the death. You would just be who would win to the point where they would subdue them.
Batman then?
Yeah, I'm still saying Superman.
I'm still saying Superman.
Batman just has the power of money.
Hey,
Because I think
great
if
power.
it was a fight to the death, Superman would never kill Batman, and Batman would win eventually.
Batman
yeah,
doesn't kill either.
He would kill Superman. I've seen Injustice. But
who won
yeah,
in who won in the movie?
it's a draw.
It's a draw,
It's a
of course.
draw because
They realize that their mothers have the same name and they become friends.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I
God,
wish I was
That's
joking.
the only thing I know
wish
about
you were
that movie.
joking too.
I wish I was joking.
So is that all four of us going for Superman?
No, I'm sticking with Batman.
Batman. Okay, so 3-1. Because I would say Superman too.
Yeah, just full disclaimer. I prefer Batman as a character.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah, but I ain't gonna fuck with a guy with laser beam eyes.
Given enough time and prep, Batman would win.
Nah, it's a battle royale, man. They get dropped in.
Oh, okay.
Okay, next one. Who'd win in a fight? A gorilla or a polar bear? We're not betting on it, so it's not illegal. Let's just put
I
that
assume you
out
mean
there.
an actual gorilla, not a member of the band Gorillaz.
Yeah, an actual gorilla.
Okay. I think a
Oh, yeah.
gorilla. Have you seen them? They are pure muscle.
I would think a gorilla too.
I'm kind of leaning towards polar bear
Why?
because they're. Have you seen the size of them?
But have you seen the size of a gorilla?
Gorillas
Yeah.
are swole as fuck.
Gorillas
True.
are 0% body fat. They would fuck a man up.
Yeah, but this is a polar bear, not a man. Polar bears have really sharp claws and teeth.
Have you seen King Kong?
No,
He's pretty big.
He is pretty
Yeah,
big.
but did he fight an equally sized polar bear?
I'm going to assume Godzilla is not a polar bear. Would I be correct in that?
No. Who won in that movie?
Again, I think it was a draw.
God.
Actually, no,
Movies
Godzilla
need to
one?
have
Does it?
winners, damn
Yeah.
it.
Godzilla
I thought they
one?
end up teaming up at the end.
They do, but they're in the first round. Godzilla straight up beats Kong.
But then does Kong not get a weapon?
No,
A Godzilla killing weapon?
This is when he has the
What?
weapon.
What the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, Kong gets a big ass axe that has the scale, the back dorsal fins of Godzilla has the blade on it. That's
don't
not a
think-
joke.
I don't think those are dorsal fins. I think
Well, what would you call them?
not dorsal fins. I don't think I
What's
look at
a
a
fin?
stegosaurus and go, look at them dorsal fin.
I would say they're. I don't get. What would you call it? A spike? It's not
Spine?
Really
I'm sticking with polar bear.
I'm also gonna go Team Bears.
Oh,
What?
2v2. Oh,
Alright, now we have to actually find two and let them fight
can't.
to get the
I'm pretty
answer.
sure. I'm almost certain polar bears are endangered, and I'm pretty sure we're not supposed to do that anymore.
Anymore.
Yeah. Okay. Who would win in a fight? Beavis and Butthead or Ren and Stimpy?
Ren and Stimpy.
I think Ren and Stimpy. I think
Because they follow weird, fucked up cartoon logic.
Yeah.
Beavis and Butthead are just, as much as they are
People
cartoons, they are
stoners.
just cartoon dudes.
Yeah, Ren
Well,
and Stimpy.
I don't even know. Who are the first ones?
Beavis,
Beavis and Butthead. You've never heard of Beavis and Butthead?
Be Oh,
the-
right. Oh, I didn't realize
yeah.
those were their names.
The MTV show.
Wait, they're just dudes, right?
Yeah, they're just
Pretty
dudes.
much, yeah.
Ren and Stimpy, yeah.
Ren and Stimpy
Yeah.
are fucked up.
They are
Yeah.
low-key psychotic as Ren and Stimpy, like. Okay, who... Oh, I'm going to hell for this one. Who would have fight, Kobe Bryant or LeBron James?
Well, one of them is alive. So
Yeah.
I'm going to say the guy that's alive.
When was this posted? I feel like...
What are you even reading, Hads?
Never you mind, I don't want
He's
you
probably
to...
found like a BuzzFeed article or something.
It's called Who Would Win in a Fight.com, alright?
Brothers and sisters, welcome to the Not So Super Bash Bros presents Game Club for July 2021. Yes, Game Club is back, the monthly video podcast review thing where we take turn picking games, go play them for the month, and come back and discuss them for your listening pleasure. This month, I picked Pummel Party by Rebuilt Games, the multiplayer party game. Originally released in September 2018 on the PC. And as ever, I am your host, the Pummeler, Nick Davis, joined by the partier, Hans Davis.
Party!
What? What was that?
He yelled party because I could hear it downstairs.
Yeah, suppose Discord probably would have cut it out, yeah.
The Punisher, Alex Proudfoot.
Hello.
And the Pickler, IY Chunk.
Hello.
Alright, hi as everyone.
Good.
You always ask us how we are. You never ask us why.
God damn it, Alex. Everyone good? Everyone excited?
I am excited.
We're going to hang out as a foursome for the first time in over a year.
That is... I am mentally erect at the thought of that.
That's... God damn it, Hans.
Better than being physically erect. Because I'm 30 now, so that's a struggle for me.
You'll not be 30 by the time this goes up. Come
Maybe
on.
we'll get sponsored by Hims for you.
Maybe we could get a sponsorship by Viagra. Use code BASHBROS to get 20% off your next prescription.
I hope not. Yes, Pummel Party. As I said, originally released in September 2018, only on the PC. IY, why did you select Pummel Party for the month?
I remember it was kind of... What was the game we played the month before?
Knockout City.
Knockout City.
Oh, yeah. It was to play another multiplayer game.
Just
and
to
then-
piss Nick off.
And then Bungie really wanted us to get Pummel Party, so I was like, you know what? We'll kill two birds with one stone.
Who would
Also,
win in
Mario
a fight,
Party.
a stone or a bird?
Also, we're forgetting a very important question. Mm-hmm. How far did everyone get?
Nah, you do that after the categories.
Okay.
Come on, man.
Alex, this isn't A to Z, right? You have your own show, okay? So let
Stay
Nick
in your
play with his
lane,
toy.
Alex.
It's alright. You see this time next year, Alex is going to be hosting every show.
Yeah. Alex's Game Club. Alex is
I'll
on
be
the fence.
every person on this podcast next year.
And every show will be prefixed with Alex's.
Yep. Alex's bro job.
Like Alex's Nick's game of the year. Alex's Hans's game of the year.
Alex's
it's the only time he's gonna get 10 games.
It's the only time Alex will have a AAA new game on his game of the year. So as ever, I have broke this into 3 categories.
Nick, what are those categories?
Gameplay,
God, we back to this shite again.
aesthetics and style.
Phoning it in, Nick Davis.
Has there ever been a Nintendo copy that has outshone the original?
Copy and paste.
What? Yeah, I'm just gonna paste in every time Hansa said a slur in between there and see if I can get him fired. So before we get into the categories, I have to ask, how far did everyone get in Pummel Party?
I'm undefeated.
Yeah.
That's
So
not
I
a
think-
distance. That's not.
I think I played.
Was it not 4 times?
Yeah,
Or it was 3 or 4.
the
All right.
4 of us played it.
Yep.
We played it once with Bunchy instead of Hans,
Yep.
or twice with Bunchy instead of Hans. I think we started a game once with Bunchy instead of Hans and didn't finish it.
Correct. Yeah.
And then we played a full game with Bunchy instead of Hans, and then we played a full game with Bunchy and Rhinley.
I
Yeah.
would love for one day that like I can't make a recording and you summon Bunchy.
Yeah.
Because Bunchy is just like,
He's the de facto 5th Bash Bro at this point.
yeah, he really is. Just like one day, like a Hans could make, or even just be like, "Hi Hans," and then just have Bunchy pretend to be me, but with an accent.
No, you do. Bunchy's accents are not good.
This is why. It only feels like that because we picked 2 multiplayer games in a row.
Just because we're talking, this is probably a bit of a side piece. Like maybe you don't want to keep it in, but if Bunchy had his own show on the channel, what would it be?
Well, I'd have to start with Alex's.
Would it just be Bunchy playing Titanfall?
Oh, it's just him playing like first-person shooters. And on a scale of 1 to Titanfall, how good is it?
It's him comparing every first-person shooter to Titanfall.
Not enough mechs.
So yeah, obviously, Hans, did you only ever play the one game of it with us?
That, and then I watched our all CPU.
Yeah, the mini games. So,
Oh, yeah.
so
Which I also won, by the way.
True. Man, I can't believe Alex literally won like every game of Pummel Party we play.
To be fair, one of those was because of the bullshit rules.
Yes, true.
Which you guys wanted in. So, you know, that's on you guys, not me.
So did anyone play like a full CPU game by themselves or anything? No.
No.
Okay.
Do people play Mario Party games on their own? Is that a thing?
Yeah. I'd say so. Like, especially prior to, like, before the days of them having, like, online multiplayer? Yeah, probably.
So, like, the Switch one until recently?
Yeah. I would say definitely. I'm sure someone, like, has probably, like, homebrewed, like, online for, like, emulated ones, I would say.
Oh, yeah, I think so.
Probably, but, like, yeah, I'd assume, like, I'm sure especially, like, young kids or something, whenever they come out, we're probably playing them by themselves. So yes, the gameplay. As mentioned, this is I don't want to say a straight up Mario Party clone, but it is obviously massively, massively inspired by Mario Party and has done kind of its own sort of aspects in some regards, and then in other regards it has pretty much just straight up copied them. So in terms of that, there's kind of 2 ways to split this. You have the actual board game side of things, where you're moving your character around the board game, or the board itself, and doing the different things. And the actual, then, the mini-games themselves. So I kind of want to talk about the mini-games first. And I think they range from, like, alright to very good. I don't think any of the ones we ever played were actually, like, bad. Like, sometimes they were maybe poorly explained what you had to do, but I wouldn't say they were necessarily, like, straight up bad.
So I would counter you and say the first time playing, they're like that. But the second and third time playing the same minigame, it drops down to bad.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I have that as another point, but like I'm just trying to like as like your first experience playing them, we'll say like because I have
First
that as
experience, yeah, I would agree.
I think there's only one bad game, I would say.
Is it the cooking one with the
It is
ingredients?
the cooking one.
Yeah,
It is the cooking one.
Yeah, it's not
you
like-
can say that. Yeah, so like that's kind of the one I was thinking when especially when I said like they're maybe poorly explained. Like there's nothing in the explanation of that one that says you need to pick up like all the ingredients before you drop it off and things like that. So, but like when you actually kind of know what you're doing, I think that one is fine again. Like
No, I still think that one's bad because the issue isn't that because I could tell that you picked stuff up, but the problem was there was a limited number of items on screen at once. So there was situations where, say, 2 of us would finish, and then the other players would just be waiting for the timer or waiting for the respawn, and that kind of takes away like the pacing whenever you're just standing there. And for me, like that's like the actual bad game.
That is actually kind of ties into the point I have, which is like I feel like some of the mini games are very unpolished. Like especially like that. Like that's the sort of thing you would think like a couple of playtesters would be like, oh well, why are we standing about doing nothing now? Whatever, you know, we know who the winner is. Let's just move on. I do feel like some of them are quite unpolished. I don't think, but like like, I personally don't think any of them are outrageously bad. But just yes, a bit more spit shine would have been nice in some of them.
I agree. Like there are some that skew towards the more negative side, but I also do think there are plenty of mini games in there that are like that were very fun and like actually require not necessarily skill, but definitely some like maybe forward thinking and planning. Like the one where you're like coloring in the squares on the ground with your character.
That was
the
one of my favorite
variety. I was floored by the variety of the mini games. Like I think like especially compared to, and we're probably going to make this comparison a lot. Like compared to a Mario Party, like the variety was completely different. Like it wasn't just platforming. Like the Mario Party games. Like there was racing games. There was.
Mario Party has had some of those though. Like Mario Party has like straight up like the slot car racing game and things like that. I would say
it's still as the thing with Mario Party. I feel like is it still feels the same. Whereas this one, it still felt different. Like I don't know. Like it's weird. Like having played a lot of them of Mario Party 8, like or sorry, Super Mario Party, isn't that the one on the Wii? Like played a lot of that. Like even on like. The racing games on that, somehow it still feels the complete same as if you're just like Mario on 2 feet. Whereas in this game, when you're playing on playing the plane game, whether it be the dogfight or the race, it feels completely different to say, the one where you're having to like move along the corridor, not die on the spikes and stuff like that. Like I feel like every game feels very, very different.
I definitely I will say yes, you're right. There is definitely, I feel like, way more variety in something like this compared to a Mario Party. But I also feel like this kind of gets away because Mario Party is obviously always going to be designed as sort of like kid friendly. So they're not going to put like, as there is in this, a straight up like third person shooter as one of the mini games where you start blasting each other with shotguns.
That's brilliant.
It's very weird. It's so fucking weird.
Are you saying you would not like to see
like it would be different?
Luigi pull out a 12 gauge and just blow
and I'm
Peach
sure
away.
They could obviously kidify that if they really wanted.
Like Dark Guns. Dark Guns.
Please hands. They just use their weapons from Rabbids.
Oh yeah, fuck yeah, that'd be great.
Or like you have Mario use the one that he has in Super Mario Sunshine. You have Luigi use the vacuum. See, there are ways around it. But yeah, like overall, like I would put them in. Like I was very happy with how kind of the mini games played out. But then, yeah, as Alex mentioned there, the biggest issue from this comes from then playing the game again, where there is very little variation in any of the mini games. So the main example I can think of is we played the game once with Bungie, and there was a mini game where the room is lit up and you can see like a very narrow platform that you kind of have to follow around as it snakes through so you don't fall in the pits. But then like all the torches in the room go out and it's pitch black. So it's about you memorizing what the platform was. So we did that. That was fun. That was fine. Like it was actually very challenging the first time, I thought, and like did take us a lot of attempts. And then the second time it came around in another, like in a completely new game we had played, it came up again and it was the exact same layout. And it just meant, and then this happened again, and like say, like the plane racing one that we've done multiple times, always the same track. The like slot car racing one, always the same track. The behind the back actual racing car one, same track every time. There is no variation in the mini games, and I think this absolutely kills the replayability of this compared to say like an actual Mario Party game where they have multiple variations of pretty much every single mini game, so that they can always mix it up and make it different.
Yeah, it's really peculiar because it's quite inconsistent. Because some games do have it, like very slightly though. It's like, what do you call it? I guess even the cooking one, right? Like even that one has
the one
a different set.
Kind of like stood out as like a different was like the tile one, where you picked up the tile, you had to rotate it and create the picture.
Yes,
like that gave you a different picture each time we played it.
Yeah, so that was the first time we were actually, oh shit, there's like different things.
And then we realized Alex somehow got on my board and tried to fuck me up.
Well, It wasn't intentional, right?
That was really weird.
But yeah, no, it's really odd because like as you guys pointed out, like the games themselves are actually fine. It's just, if you could fly around different maps, if you could race around different maps, if you could go through different obstacles, I guess it suffers kind of like imagine like playing like Fall Guys too much.
Yeah.
Right? Where
Yeah.
before, the Yeetus update, even that update didn't exactly change that much on some of the levels. You get to the point when, like, whenever Ryan Lee joined us, I think he joined us for one time when we had the dark room, and the majority of us knew exactly what to do. But
I think you and me literally just like got to the end of that straight away, and we're then just running backwards through it to just fuck with people.
Yeah, it was just that is a real shame. A real shame.
It is like we played it 4 times. Most of us played it 4 different games of this, and we were seeing a fair few repeats in minigames. Like, I don't think we ever saw, I'm sure there are still minigames we haven't played in there, but we definitely were replaying a lot of minigames by the time we got to the end of the last game we played. So it's not like they're relying on quantity to stop that issue happening, because there's not enough there to make that not an issue still, unless you do plan on playing this once or twice and then never playing it again. It's just.
Do you think it's like a studio, like a size studio thing? Like, obviously, if the likes of Mario Party, they have that variation throughout it, but it's it's backed by Nintendo, and I imagine it's a relatively big company behind that. Whereas this is obviously an indie game; it's a much smaller party. Do you think it's time restraints and stuff that they don't put in, kind of like?
I'm sure there's probably massive amounts of this is probably quite a small studio, and they can't afford to put in dozens of variations. But then you don't need variations for every single one. Obviously the ones that are competitive, you don't need variations for, because you're competing against each other, so you don't need to change things up. But there are definitely games in there that needed variations to actually be enjoyable to play more than once. Because if I get into a game now and play it 4 random people who've never played it before, and I just randomly I complete a minigame or two completely just because I've played the game before, it's kind of shitty, to be honest. Or do I intentionally play bad to be oh, this is so tough? Because that's not fun either. It's it's not a massive, it's not like we've played this so much that this has become an issue. I feel like this is something you would notice very quickly, and to not try and put something in to counteract it feels, I don't want to say negligent, but definitely feels like an oversight.
But I think that also comes down what I said as well about some of the aspects of this being unpolished, or maybe could have been tested a bit more. I can think of it we talked about that one game, whatever one it was. But also I whenever we played it, that corridor one where you have to ragdoll your way through the corridor. And now I realised, I could just hold right and keep going, and there's no penalty for going off the scrine. That's not a challenge.
Because nothing actually kills you in that game.
Yeah, bar.
It's pure skill, guys. Don't try to
So I feel like it is just it feels like it's again a bit of a lack of polish, or a lack of kind of QA testing, that these maybe kind of just fell through the gaps a wee bit.
So I'm having a look at the updates page on Pummel Party. So that one you're just talking about, that came out last year. The side-scrolling one.
The ragdoll?
Yeah. That was added last year in a patch. So they have been adding more mini-games to it.
I feel like that's a cool thing. That's something you wouldn't see Mario Party do, unless it was in DLC. The fact that we're going to add more and more mini games to it that can be added into the shuffle and stuff. I think that's a very cool thing.
Can you check when the last update was, just out of interest? The last major update, not just a bug fix or something.
22nd of December 2020. It added the light up blocks, the zone one.
Yeah.
And the key bridges.
Oh, yeah.
It actually added a lot.
I remember that. I just wanted the date, to see Are
It
they,
added
are they
4.
still updating it like on a regular basis, or
It added IOI's favorite game.
Yeah.
which
well,
one?
they-
The cooking one.
Well, they added they did a patch in April.
Oh, did they? Okay.
But
Is it actually a patch?
it says major update on it. They added a map and cosmetics. So nothing like gameplay wise per se, apart from the map.
Oh,
Like,
I
it's
just
still
saw
cool,
Twitch
and if-
Rivals.
Like a game like Pummel Party could massively benefit. Like the lifespan could massively benefit from a constant. Like look at Fall Guys. Like you know, it is kind of a party game, and like its lifespan. Don't get me wrong. Yes, it's not to the popularity it used to be, but it's definitely I would still quite relevant.
Yeah, it just feels like that is something that needs addressing to like make this appealing to people long term. Because like I already don't want to play more of this because I know we're just gonna hit more of the exact same mini games that I've literally seen every way I can see them now. It's just like maybe if the idea, like maybe I'd go back and play it if like, there was 8 people and like we could get 8 people to play it all at the same time, because that would just be interesting to see how chaotic that becomes. But like if one of you were to be like, oh, do you want to have a round of Pummel Party? I'd be like, nah, dog, I'm good. And it mainly comes down to just because the mini games feel like I've seen them all already.
Yeah, been there, done that sort of thing.
So, is there any other bits about the mini games before I move on to like the actual boards themselves?
I guess the only other thing, which I think everyone faced a part of it at some point, is the controls, specifically camera controls. For because I had the issue for the third-person shooter game, and you guys all had the issue for the flying games.
Yeah.
Where where it doesn't.
It's not inverted.
Where one of the games it's inverted, but the other one isn't, and
Yeah.
I don't
Like, I get it for the flying thing, because I feel like flying games typically do have inverted controls.
Yeah.
Because that's actually how you would fly a plane. But
It's just weird. It's not like a toggle or something.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from, because obviously you play with inverted controls, like, naturally. So, like, playing that third-person shooter one probably completely fucked with your head for a bit. Yeah, like, there are definitely some things where, like, I do wish you could remap some of the controls, but I feel like that becomes then weird when, like, you're having to present the controls to people. It's like, alright, does one person remap them for everyone, or does...
It's just in your own settings, right? Because we all own the game.
Yeah.
So it's just... I guess the issue is you could technically play this...
split screen.
Yeah, and then you'd have to set each control, which, to be fair, a lot of games do that anyway.
Yeah,
like, that is a thing.
True. Yeah.
But no, I think Hans is right in that like the game just feels not quite polished. Like there is definitely stuff there.
Oh yeah, like, there is good ideas. There are 100%.
Yeah. Go on, maps.
So the boards themselves, so this is obviously the other side of things that is obviously like very big in these Mario Party style games, is how do you actually get around the board? What's the objective of the board, and like what kind of different ways you can fuck with people on the board? So I think the issue for me, I think the maps themselves are very uninspired. Like each map has like kind of the same mechanics of like there's an instant death, there's some instant death tiles, there is like the vampire tiles, and then kind of each map has its own event. Like similar to Mario Party, where kind of each map does its own, like has its own gimmick. I just feel like the gimmicks almost don't go far enough in this. Like they never felt like they were someone activated the event and it's completely changed like how I need to approach things, kind of like Mario Party would at times. And I think it's kind of the annoying thing is like it almost just felt like every map was kind of the exact same, to be honest. Like playing on the different maps didn't feel like there was any more enjoyment to be had or any less enjoyment to be had.
Yeah, no, I'd 100% agree. I think what's kind of disappointing is those each map had like its one gimmick.
Yeah.
But except for I want to say the pirate map that we played last, the other ones we played, it had like nothing to do with the actual theme of the map. So I think one of the gimmicks was like, oh, change your direction, right?
Yeah.
Which I don't know what kind of theme you could do for that, but like it was just kind of there.
Yeah,
and then
like,
another one,
like the digital one was like, oh, everyone gets put in jail. And
yeah,
you have
but
to roll a
it's like
certain number
off
to get out.
it's like it's off the screen, and like it doesn't really fit, so it doesn't really feel like a map
Yeah.
You know, it feels like just functions in a map. They were just like, we need to have this number of tiles of this number of tiles. Oh, also we need a thing for players to stand on to trigger something. And yeah, they just weren't great, which is a shame because I feel like the map stuff is the thing that is actually kind of different.
I have this point too, is I feel like the mini games are going to be the mini games, like, and you're not really going to see them, but I feel like the maps are kind of where you have the opportunity there to really set yourself apart from like kind of what Mario Party does, and I feel like they've just completely missed the mark on it.
But Mario Party has always been very solid with their maps, though.
They have, but like this was the opportunity to do something like completely different and like kind of almost reinvent how the maps were done, and they've just kind of stuck with very, very simple maps and put in the like simplest mechanics they could think of.
Because the first thing I remember playing on that Wasteland map, that's the first thing I thought was, other than that kind of worm thing, which was literally just someone activated it and then everyone died on their turn and then dropped some keys. And like, I compare that to the likes of like Mario Party, and I think of King Bob-omb's level, where like literally like you could like every time you hit the event square, like triggers a countdown, and if you're in a certain area, he explodes and you lose half your coins, which adds this really cool layer to it, because you're like, right, do I risk going through this way to get to the star, even if it's shorter, but I could blow up? Like it when I compare it like to that, I'm just like, this doesn't even like, it's not even on the same playing field as Mario Party. Like it was so bland and boring. I thought that the maps did look kind of cool, but other than looking cool, they just were non-existent.
The one thing I will give this like props for, outside of like on the actual like board game side of it, is I do really like kind of how they've adapted the items, like they add this layer of like, oh, you have health and like you can die, and the items feel a lot more impactful in a lot of ways. And I think they've definitely done a good job there in like doing something very different to what Mario Party does, whereas like in Mario Party the items very rarely like interfere with the other players. They typically like give you a boost, or they teleport you somewhere like beside the key or something along those lines. Whereas in this one, like all the items pretty much are to fuck over someone else.
Like I think like you're right, but like I feel like with Mario Party, the only way you can fuck over a player is usually by, can I get enough coins off of them so that they can't afford the star? Whereas this is literally like, if I kill this guy, he's going to be teleported to the far side of the map away from, you know, what the fuck's the item in this? It's not a star. What is it?
It's a trophy.
Isn't it? Trophy. Yeah, the trophy. Like this game is like the ultimate shithousery game compared to Mario Party. I don't think all the items are great though. I do feel like there's more hits than misses, but some of the items I feel are very bleh.
I think it's very, I guess we'll call it one-dimensional, because it's all about like violence, right?
Yeah.
So most of the weapons, it is. You deal damage, right? Or there's one item that affects movement, and then there's one item that shields you, and that's kind of it. At least in like Mario Party, I believe I think there are ways to like affect other players though, like not by huge amounts, but it's a little bit more subtle.
It's very rarely directly. Like it's like you'll use an item that'll like put a trap down, then if someone lands on it, they'll get hit, or like
like you can use a poison
the only way I can think
like
you can directly affect a player is like you can steal coins or a star off them with one of the items, and I think that's about it.
There's a poison mushroom as well.
Yeah, like it's never straight like.
You can't kill Mario. Yeah. That's what we're saying here.
Well, what I would say though is that I'm not sure if it's like how it would work for balance, but I always find it odd that you could only use an item at the start of your turn. So what that meant was, let's say Nick rolls, and he's going to land on top of me, and my turn is next. Well, then I get the initiative. Yeah, I get the initiative, and I get to run away. When what it probably should have been, I don't know if this would actually, maybe it like fucks up the balance, but like I feel like it should have been, Nick should roll, and he should be rewarded because he was able to land near me, and then he should shoot me, and then I should be able to retaliate if I'm still alive, or something like that, you know?
Yeah.
It's a bit weird, because I think there was only maybe it was only one game, but I did feel like I had so many items, and I just couldn't use them, because I just wasn't on the space.
Yeah,
Or
you
rather,
get, like,
they weren't on
so,
my space, I guess, is how I would
Yeah.
phrase it.
You like get so separated that most of the items are like useless.
Yeah. I think that's the difference between some of the items in this and compared to Mario Party, whereas a lot of Mario Party stuff is like, you know, it literally is just like, oh, I'm going to use this, and it will literally teleport to the person to then actually do whatever it's going to do, whether it be steal coins or steal a star. Whereas in this, you're having to, you know, physically aim the shotgun or physically, you know, aim the laser of death.
I'll have to say, I think my favorite, although the items are actually kind of boring in general, I actually feel like my favorite item was the aubergine grenade.
Oh yeah, it was
Because
pretty good.
it actually involved, there was like tension, and it involved a player controlling it, and it was a Bungie or someone like accidentally rolled it off the edge
Yeah.
on the pipe level, which I thought was hilarious. But yeah, like they have such good ideas on certain things, and then other things it just feels kind of meh.
Yeah.
Also, the fact that different levels affects the weapons, as we found out since I missed point blank with a shotgun.
Oh yeah, like the elevation very like kind of fucked you over once or twice. Like
Yeah.
you literally just fired straight over someone's head with the shotgun.
Which is so weird.
I feel like
Yeah.
it affects like the shotgun only though, because I feel like we
Yeah.
never had an issue with any other weapon, but like everyone had an issue with the shotgun.
It maybe would have affected the like punching glove too.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
think anyone
man.
did the punching glove.
Because obviously the rest of them are kind of like
Targeted.
radiuses that are kind of happening
Yeah.
or they're targeted, whereas this one you're pointing in a direction and firing straight out.
Yeah, the game's a bit jank. I think we're
Yeah,
gonna
it
agree.
is. It is pretty. And like to be fair, like we also did encounter like one or two bugs when we played it. Like we had like Alex, like his turn just never started once, and we had to like leave the game and reload a save. And like we like there were a couple of other times where like turns took a while to like kind of kick in. So it's not exactly the most stable thing in the world either, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
So the aesthetics and style. I'll
I think
be
it's also
honest.
hit and miss.
I just think this game looks really bad. Mm-hmm. Like, I kind of get the look they're going for, like with this kind of like really almost low res, like low texture kind of look. But to me, when I'm playing it, it looks like a mixture of like graphics that you would make when doing like a tutorial for Unity, and then some assets that you probably bought from the Unity asset store. Like, it just looks everything looks very placeholdery to me. And the things that don't look placeholdery, like there's no cohesion to the style. That looks like they've just went and got all the assets from somewhere randomly to just use in the game. And I just think it was very rough to look at, I think. And I just did not enjoy looking at that game in any way, shape, or form.
I guess I'd mostly agree. Like, I think the game looks graphically not great, not good even. But I kind of liked the style and like the humor of things, like the aubergine grenade thing. I actually quite liked that stuff. But yeah, overall, it is not. It's not a pretty picture.
Like, I get what they were going for, but I feel like they just completely missed the mark on it. Like, it was almost kind of like they were trying to do like a Gang Beasts meets Valheim look, but they didn't. Like, Valheim pulls it off; it's very clever that way, but this didn't pull it off at all.
To me, it's just it is the complete lack of cohesion between how a lot of things look in the game, and like when you compare it to Mario Party, which like it does take you like loads of different environments and loads of different like areas for the mini games, but they all look like they belong in the same universe, so to speak. I just did not get any of that. It just was like, it felt like people were throwing ideas at a board and saying, all right, what style would suit this? Super like sci-fi Tron light cycles? Yeah, let's go. That'll look okay. And then you get warped back to like this completely different world. It is very jarring and not in a like enjoyable way. It's just felt so like all over the place and scattershot that just was not like enjoyable to play for or look at for me.
Since we're talking about kind of style and looks, Alex,
Hello.
colorblind test. How did it do on it?
Grim.
I'm not colorblind, and there were some of the mini games where a couple of the colors looked a bit too close.
The red and the pink were very
Like,
close.
yeah,
I think
I
we're
think
very
it's
close to
mainly
a lot of
that.
the games.
And
Like especially like the floor tile one, I think especially was like really bad because
Yeah.
they put
Because-
so much bloom on everything.
because like the food game, since the textures are so low, you can only really go by the colors of the food.
Yeah.
And when you can't tell the colors apart, it's real hard to pick up the right food. So I don't think I ever got one right for that minigame.
Yeah, it playing like maybe it is the case, and maybe like a lot of this maybe did come from like placeholder assets, but like playing this just reminded me of like a lot of like the really shitty assets I made in university when like we did game design like modules, and you're just sitting there making like the most bare bones basic thing that the tutorial tells you to make, and then putting it in your game, and nothing goes together, but you're just going off what random tutorials you have found have told you to do. Like, that is just the exact feeling I got, and hell, I could be right. I don't know like the story behind the studio that made this, but like that's the feeling I get.
But that's an artistic director thing. Like, the guy, like whoever was behind the kind of the art asset should have been like, look, that's cool and all, but it doesn't fit the style.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I remember when I, like my first couple bits of Photoshop, you know, like I would find a font that I really like and then I'll put it in, but then that font might not suit the style and it feels completely disjointed. Like, yeah, I feel like it's just the art director of this game should have been like, no, that doesn't work. put it back.
Other than that, like I don't think there was much to kind of talk about in terms of like the aesthetics and style. Like,
But
I think
the cosmetics, man.
They're there.
Yeah,
they're
just-
there. They do not look great by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, they kind of hinder you at times.
The best thing was the capes because it made it real easy to tell your character.
I just thought they were just really limited. Like really limited. Like compared to like really limited and really uninspired. Do you know what I mean? Like coming like in an era of gang beasts and like Fall Guys, like there was nothing really made me go like, haha, that's funny. Like it was like, yeah, you can have a crown and a cape and you're a king, or you can have a sci-fi helmet and you know an astronaut suit. You know, there's nothing that made me kind of go like, it's not like fucking, you know, Mount Your Friends where you can have like abominations to, like of nature. I just found it really like, I felt like they didn't even try with the costumes and stuff in it.
It's not even like their costume, their helmets.
Yeah, it's just a helmet and a cape.
A cape.
And you can change your eyes, but half the helmets cover your eyes anyway, so you can't really fucking see them. Yeah, I don't like a lot of the stuff outside of the gameplay itself did feel very kind of. They also kind of felt very placeholder. Like all the menus are just rectangular boxes with the most basic ass font inside them.
Yeah.
So, like, just so much of this almost feels like it's coming out of an early access game when it's not. It's a game that's been out for, what?
Actually, here, do you know what I was just thinking of in terms of style? I'm like, who did the style? A similar style, but better? Tabs. Totally accurate Battle Simulator. It's a very similar style, kind of low poly, low res.
Yeah.
Like even the menu is like kind of minimalist boxes. But Tabs makes it work.
Yeah.
I feel like Tabs makes it work, whereas this kind of just didn't.
Yeah, I don't know, like, it was a massive letdown. Like, I didn't go into it with massively high expectations, but it just felt so all over the place and just really poor, honestly.
Okay,
Is
so have
there-
a look here, and but I'll give them this, right? Because we kind of touched on it whenever Alex was looking at the updates. I scrolled all the way down to the bottom, and the release date of this game, at least in this article, maybe it changed, but I assume it wasn't far off.
September 2018 was the release.
Yeah. So, like, which means that technically they've been supporting this game
Oh yeah.
for quite a long time, which
But,
is
that's
weird.
almost like that's weird to me because like what I said there, like it almost looks like some of the stuff has come out of an early access game, but it's a game they've been regularly supporting for almost 3 years now. So like as much as we say like yeah, there are bits of that are cool, there's still a lot of bits of this that are lacking polish for a game that's got 3 years worth of support. It's obviously their support is more focused on let's just keep throwing mini games in rather than addressing kind of everything else around that.
Yeah, it is just content.
Yeah. So is there any final thoughts about the aesthetics and style before we move on to our final category?
Nope.
So the final category is, it's the question of, has there ever really actually been like a game that's kind of copied a Nintendo formula and has kind of been better? Because I feel like Nintendo more than any other company has a lot of copycats, so to speak. So like you have like Mario Kart has always had games that have kind of tried to do like that kart racing with power-ups and things. You've got Crash Team Racing, you've got the Sonic Racing series. Then they also have like Mario Party, like, so we've got this, you've got Crash Bash, and I feel like back like loads of like shovelware shit on the Wii was like trying to copy Mario Party. And then even stuff like Smash Bros has had copies of like the PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale, that upcoming Nickelodeon one. And it just feels like Nintendo, more so than anyone, has a lot of people trying to copy its successful games. And I can't think of a single instance where it's actually worked out for anyone. Like every attempt at trying to do it falls. It's either widely ridiculed as just a straight up copy and then no one really sticks with it, or it's just, it never gets the same sort of recognition. So can you guys think of anything that maybe I've missed in thinking of this, or just like, is it just a case of Nintendo have kind of come in first and done it so well that everyone's going to stick with the well-established franchise?
I think Nintendo have always had a very high quality though. Like, you know, the first Mario Party, the first Smash Bros, all that sort of thing. Like, they release very, whether they're your type of game or not, they are still very high quality games of that genre. So like when a lot of like, you know, like when Sony tries their All-Star Battle Royale and all this stuff, it just can't measure up to the exceptional standards of Nintendo. Even if it is, like, the game itself is not that bad. Like, I've heard the Sony one isn't terrible. It's just not to the standard that's Nintendo has absolutely nailed.
I think the examples you named.
Temtem?
But like that's like, you can even go as far as like, so Pokemon obviously has lots of games that have tried to like kind of do a similar thing. You've got like even Breath of the Wild recently has had 2 games that have like, you've got Genshin Impact has very similar like some very very similar mechanics to Breath of the Wild, and that Ubisoft one, Phoenix Rising, like it was widely seen as like a almost pretty much straight up Breath of the Wild clone.
Yeah,
like for, and like some of them like for everyone talking about it, like people said, yeah, for what it's trying to copy from Breath of the Wild, it does it very well. But that always comes with the zeitgeist of it's a Breath of the Wild clone. So it's just a case of Nintendo manages to nail these concepts and ideas first, and like rather than taking multiple iterations to get it right, and then no one else can. I'm wondering
if it's the fact that since it's Nintendo, it doesn't leave the Nintendo like console family. So obviously there's like the market for people who don't own a Nintendo console. So that means people are going to throw crap together to try and get that audience.
Yeah.
So would that then lower the... I just forgot the word. Quality?
Yeah, like is it maybe just people thinking, oh, there's a gap here and we just want to fill it as quick as possible?
Yeah.
So they're not worrying about the polish or like meeting that high bar. And like, don't get me wrong, I do think like something like Smash Bros obviously probably gets by quite a lot on like the name brand recognition of it. Like they can pull from probably a much more prestigious pool of characters than say like another company trying to do it. Like, so you've got like a lot of the indie games have tried to do like a similar thing, but then they're doing it with like original characters that no one really has an affinity for. And then even the PlayStation one, like, yeah, some of the characters were cool, but there was definitely, they were scraping the bottom of the barrel in some cases for those characters compared to like Nintendo.
I do also feel like a part of it is that pulling factor of the Nintendo characters that you can only get on Nintendo. You know, like there is this appeal of saying, you know, it's Mario and friends at the Olympics. Ho ho, it's Mario and friends racing cars. Oh, it's Mario and friends beating the shit out of each other. Like, there is definitely that part of it adds to, not necessarily the quality of the game, but to the reception of the game. Because I definitely think, like, when you have that many iconic characters, like yeah, I don't see how any season, like any series or company has that level of iconic characters you can pull from to have people like do that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really don't. Like, I can't think of any other company that could like do that sort of thing. Like Sony, and like this thing, like Sony, who they do have some memorable characters who are exclusive to them. Obviously, tried it and it still didn't work.
Yeah, it's just like it's just something like it always seems to be Nintendo that this like people are trying to copy and never like hitting that bar, and it's just like and don't get me wrong, like I don't think Mario Party or like Mario, like I would personally I prefer like Sonic Racing over a lot of the Mario Karts. So like I don't think it's just they never get the like the broader appeal of like one of these games. Like I don't think they are this unachievable like high level of quality that no one could reach. I don't think it would be out of like not impossible for a company to make a game that is good as some Mario Kart or a Mario Party. It just seems to be they never seem to get there for whatever reason.
But on the flip side, I feel like there are companies out there who have done kind of established their niche or their genre, and Mario Party have tried to copy, or Mario Party, Nintendo have tried to copy it and not quite hit the same heights. Like Battle Kingdom. Remember Rabbids Battle Kingdom? Don't get me wrong. Yeah, it was good and I enjoyed it and it was fun, but it's no XCOM. You know? Like I imagine if like I'd just be looking at my flipping desktop icons. Like imagine if they tried to make a Nintendo-esque Rocket League. I don't think it would work very well. Not that it wouldn't work very well, but it's not going to topple Rocket League. Mario Strikers as well. Like you played Mario Strikers, Nick, but it didn't topple FIFA. Do you know, like that sort of stuff? Like I feel like there is the inverse.
Pokemon Unite.
Hey,
that game ain't bad.
Jury's still out, man.
So I think there's an argument to be made. Like there is the flip side of it too.
No, that's a good point, actually. Also, I do find it surprising, though, right? That, you know, as Alex said, there is this market for it. Like, you know, I don't know about you guys, but like, I would love a kart racing game that I could play on my PC, right?
Sonic and Sega All-Stars.
Right? That was the only game that I could tell you that I could have played. But like, that was how many years ago now?
So I'm just going to put this out here, right? I don't know if it is a thing or not, but Yakuza characters in Sega.
Yeah.
Is that a thing? Have they done that yet?
I'm pretty sure Kiryu is in Sonic and Sega All-Stars.
Majima would also be a fantastic character to put in that. And
the football manager from Football Manager's in it.
See, and that's what they should have done to begin with, is just lean into the absolute ridiculousness of it.
So I'm holding out hope for the is it the Skeletrix? No, not Skeletrix.
The Hot Wheels.
Hot Wheels. We're holding out for that game.
That sounds like really cool.
Is that game coming out for PC? Or
I think so.
Not, yeah. Not, yeah.
I'm waiting for the Genshin Impact beat 'em up. So I'm waiting
Genshin Impact Smash Bros.
Yeah. No, not Smash Bros. like actually one-on-one fighter.
Okay.
Oh, actual fighting game.
Like how Persona did theirs.
But I have to say though, I feel like if we're gonna call Genshin Impact similar to Breath of the Wild, I feel like that is very much a success, right? Like you know, as much as I want to meme on it, like it is a
it
success.
definitely does some things quite differently. Like
Yeah,
Like
of
I
course.
think if you're going to say like if you're looking at a direct copy of Breath of the Wild, I think looking at something like Immortals: Phoenix Rising is probably a lot
Yes,
closer.
exactly.
Like it is
But I feel like Genshin Impact though, like for as much as it is successful, it is still viewed as a Breath of the Wild clone. Though.
it is also probably a lot more successful for it being a waifu gacha game than it being a Breath of the Wild
diss.
clone.
Don't fucking diss my waifu. I will fucking cut you now.
Alo is coming to enhance.
She is.
I feel like anytime someone sees an open world, quite like, light colors on the world, like Phoenix, and Genshin Impact, like I feel like people's mind just instantly goes to Breath of the Wild, which I find to be really odd.
It is for Phoenix anyway. It was definitely more about like the stamina system and like when it was first shown. Like literally, some of the assets looked like they were dripped directly from Breath of the Wild, like some of the UI.
And like to me, that it's that stamina system. It's like the mobility with gliders and stuff like that. It's for me, that's what I look for when I think of like a Breath of the Wild clone. Like,
I know, but remember whenever that Pokemon game was announced?
Yeah.
And everyone says...
I don't get people saying like, "Oh, it's Pokemon Breath of the Wild." Like that's just horseshit.
Like that's just
people saying open world equals Breath of the Wild, which I don't think is correct.
That's exactly what I think it is, right? Is that as soon as someone sees an open world with that kind of color palette, everyone's like, "Oh, it's Breath of the Wild."
Which I don't agree with that though. I'm not going around calling Pokemon Legends like, "Oh, Breath of the Wild," but Pokemon. I think that's just dumb.
I think that's the internet being the internet. In my opinion. Like for me, I definitely feel like there are certain elements that like the mobility to it, like a slight crafting element and cooking element, where you collect ingredients, like the stamina stuff. I would say like. Here, actually, just because it's here, Nick. Biomutant, Nick, would you think that's kind of Breath of the Wild-esque or not?
No, I wouldn't. Like, I think
definitely parts
the thing about like it's the Immortals thing was like it even went down like it had like the equivalent of like the Breath of the Wild shrines and stuff in the game. Yeah, 100%. Like it was literally just like, all right, what is like you could map pretty much 1-to-1 everything that was in Immortals to Breath of the Wild. Like it
even had the challenge chambers.
Like it was like the equivalent of legally different.
Yeah.
Like Genshin Impact I think is like very similar mechanics in some regards to Breath of the Wild, but I also think in other ways it's doing its own thing.
Yeah.
Like I felt like again, as someone who's never played Genshin Impact, right? So Hans, you will have to.
You will.
Right, you'll have to tell me, right? But like I feel like with Genshin it's the same thing where I feel like it's just aesthetically that's the thing, and maybe like the traversal bit. But the actual combat is like nothing. Like
the combat's completely different. Like the combat is, I would say, it's almost more akin to, almost like Dragon Age 2, where like it's like slightly MMO-ish, but it's more. There's slightly more active. Like it's slightly more active to it.
Like using cooldowns, right? Like isn't that
like there's cooldowns. There's like an auto attack of such. There's a bigger emphasis on elemental properties, so like using ice against fire.
Oh, so it's Pokemon. Oh, I see. I get you now, Hans.
Yeah,
this waifu is strong against this waifu. I get you.
Pokemon waifus. Yeah, there's a website.
So you're saying Genshin Impact is actually the Pokemon meets Breath of the Wild game everyone wants?
Yep, that's exactly it. Because you got to catch them all. Yeah. So,
but I think whenever Hans made the point of like it works both ways, I think why it seems like Nintendo's at the forefront is because we compare everything to Nintendo. Because they are trying to branch into multiple things. But like when we're talking about other companies, it's more of like they have their own thing and they are trying, like they either have their own thing or they are just trying to copy one aspect of Nintendo.
So I would say that is probably the big difference for me, is it never feels like Nintendo is chasing the trend compared to other companies. Like I never look at a Nintendo game and think, oh, it's obviously just trying to like capture this or this or this audience. Like it's
that the Pokemon MOBA is kind of close to that.
But then like again, like that's not really Nintendo. Like that is, I know it's not, that is all Tencent. Like it is Nintendo and just the fact that they own part of Pokemon.
Yeah, but like that's as close as I've seen. Probably is like that.
Like it's not like Nintendo is going out there and trying to make a Rocket League clone or something else. Like they are sticking to their guns and people are copying them. Like it never feels like Nintendo is trying to copy someone else.
I think
Nintendo MMO.
I'm pretty sure this is like, I don't know if this is more of a stereotype, but you do always hear how like Japanese developers are a little bit more cautious about new things.
Yeah,
I guess, and they're sometimes like behind the times, right? So like a funny example, I guess, would be how like we're getting a fucking Pokemon MOBA in this day and age,
Yeah,
right?
we're
Like
not getting
the
the
MOBA
Pokemon
age
MOBA.
has long passed,
Like,
right?
not back when we were getting, like, a DC MOBA, a Lord of the Rings MOBA,
Yeah.
where everything and their mother was a MOBA.
Like,
and
you know,
we're only
you
now
joke-
getting the Pokemon one.
You joke hands, right? But you know that Nintendo MMO's coming up. You know, I'm telling you, it's coming up. And then like
World of
Mario
Nintendo.
Raid Boss.
and then I guess the big thing that I would be interested in, right, is the whole idea of rollback netcode, right? In fighting games, right? Because that is something that's come to the forefront now of like video game multiplayer stuff. Is this idea that
There was a better way to do fighting game online.
right? And you've heard the memes like what do you call the Tekken guy who put up the thing where it's like
Harada or something, was it?
yeah, where he's just like, you guys just got to get better PCs,
Yeah.
or something like
put it out and
that.
said, just get better internet. What are you doing?
Yeah, get better. Like that. It's that kind of mentality, right? And I think Nintendo is very much like follows that as well, where it's just like we're gonna do our thing, and it's genius as well, right? Because they're no longer in this console war, quote unquote, with Xbox and PlayStation, because now they're just like, well, we have this cool handheld thing, right?
Hey,
and now,
man,
now
the
Steam's
Steam
coming in.
Deck.
Yeah, now Steam's kind of trying to butt in, right? And we'll see how that goes.
Is there any final thoughts before we move into our conclusions?
Your examples of Crash Bash and Crash
Team Racing?
Crash Team Racing, those two were phenomenal games.
Yeah, they were.
And I will say that those ones were successes. Like,
I definitely remember
much.
Crash Bash a lot more fondly than Crash Team Racing, to be honest.
And the irony of it all is that I would rather play those two games than actual Crash. Like, that is the funny part, was I could not care less for actual Crash Bandicoot, but like those two games, really great.
I'm
I'm
also
with
just
you.
going to say it that just because you're talking about it, I'm so happy that Crash has made some sort of comeback like in the last couple of years. It actually does make me so happy.
Come see me when he makes the next kart racing game, right?
Hey,
Come
man,
see me.
they did remake Crash Team Racing for the PS4.
Yeah.
It might have been on PC as well, actually, I think about it. Maybe, I
Here
don't
we
know.
hear IY furiously typing into Steam.
Oh yeah, let me do that right now.
Nah, call me when they remake Crash Bash. Then I'll be there day one.
That being said, though, I wonder if, like, for Crash Bash specifically, I would wonder if that was nostalgia. I'm sure
Yeah,
the racing game
awesome.
is the racing game. I'm sure it's great, but the actual mini games and stuff, I wonder how I'd feel about it as a kid now, or as an adult now. Sorry, I'm a grown man.
I'm almost 30.
I mean, you could download it and find out.
Maybe that's what I'm about to pick for Game Club. Maybe that's all we're going to do when you come here. Just get home. We're just going to play Crash Bash on repeat.
Hey man, I'm done.
So personally, I don't think I would recommend Pummel Party unless you literally cannot play like a Mario Party game. Like I don't think of a way that I would prefer Pummel Party over any of the Mario Party games. And I don't even think it has the advantage now of, it has online support, because now Mario Party is finally getting online support. Like, the latest Mario Party just got it, and I think it seems like it's not going to be a mainstay going forward that there will be online support for them. So it's just... Pummel Party is doing nothing that I don't think Mario Party does multitudes better. And it's just... There's the lack of cohesion, the lack of minigame variety just make it a very, very hard sell for me. And I don't think I could recommend it to someone over... It's probably way cheaper than any Mario Party game out there, and that's probably the only advantage it has. Hans.
I only played a lot of Super Mario Party on the Switch. I find it refreshing going to playing Pummel Party. So yeah, I would recommend it as a Mario Party alternative. Is it better than Mario Party? Absolutely not. Definitely not. But if you are tired of playing Mario Party and want to try something different, yeah, you're not going to dislike your time with it, I don't think. Yeah, I think it is a perfectly fine Mario Party alternative.
Alex.
So, as someone who's won every game he's played, it gets old real fast. There's just no competition.
So he's going to retire undefeated.
Yep.
Alex probably already has it uninstalled, so he can never be beat.
No, it's still installed. Still installed.
RY.
Wait, did Alex actually give an opinion?
I think that was
or did he
Alex's
just
opinion.
did he just flex? Did he just flex and then just leave
Alex's
it? Like, what?
opinion was just him flexing.
Do you want me to give an opinion?
Give it an
Or do you
opinion.
want- Okay. It's pretty
Okay.
Great.
RY.
This is the guy who has his own show, by the way.
Okay, let me elaborate.
You do this like literally every other week on reviews, and then yours is pretty.
So, as someone who doesn't play a lot of Mario Party, I only play Mario Party when I'm with you guys, basically. It doesn't really live up to the gameplay, the variety of a Mario Party. I don't think it's as fun. I think the mini games are pretty fun, some of them. But I don't think the board is very well designed. I think it's like more of a how do you say it?
An
It's kind
afterthought.
of like a bridge. It's like it's there to get you into the mini games if you don't want to do like a pure mini game mode kind of thing.
It's there for practicality more than anything else.
Yeah. It doesn't feel like that's the main focus of it. So it's like it is kind of like Is it like inherently bad? I don't think it's inherently bad. I just think it's like pretty mediocre. Yeah.
Alex, I'm gonna get you a voucher so you can get tattooed onto yourself.
Gonna get you an Eason's voucher so you can buy a thesaurus.
Hey man. Are they still
Happy
open?
30th.
RY. Opinions go.
I feel like you guys were actually a bit nicer than I thought you'd be, because I would not recommend. So I wouldn't.
I also don't recommend. I didn't tack that on there.
No, you've had your time. You wasted too much time flexing, right? No,
Swing your dick.
I feel
Sounds
like
like a loser talking right there.
look, if you want to
I think-
say
I
that
think
this is the
Alex
game
having
you're
his own
great
show
at.
with the
Should I
powers
keep
going to
Pummel
his
Party
head.
installed for when IY gets here on Saturday?
Oh shit! Yeah, it was
Yeah,
latency
say that to his
issues.
face,
No
Alex.
man, it's a different month. The game's over, you know.
No, it'll still be July by then.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, no, I think I picked this as like a bit of a joke at the time, and
But the joke's on you.
yeah. But like, I think there is no reason to play this really, because I think if you want to have that kind of party-esque game, like but rather than like, because I feel like everyone says like they need to play a copy of this other game, right? Nick's like, I need a Dark Souls-esque game, right? He's got plenty to pick from, right? And
Yeah, like every game.
yeah, exactly. But like, I just don't. I think if you need that itch scratched, I think you can find just other games to play with your friends. Like, what was the really bad game? Oh, Gauntlet. There you go. Just play that with your friends. Perfect. There you go. There you go. Yeah.
If you really dislike your friends, yes, play Gauntlet with them.
One of Bungie's favourite games, as we found out.
Oh yeah, you actually
It's
like
not
that.
We find out that Bungie actually really likes Gauntlet.
The 20
you know what you could
whatever
do?
was remake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can play Dungeons and Dragons Dark
Right,
Alliance.
he's no longer the de facto fifth bash bro. He's not allowed to be.
Oh yeah. As Alex like mentioned it there. Yeah, no. Play this game over that game though.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Oh god, did you pick that for next month?
No.
What is next month's game?
Oh, I need to do the overall conclusion. So overall, fairly negative thoughts and opinions. Bar Hans.
That's a very generous thing.
Hans was happy. We were all not happy. Funny how the person that only played one game was happy.
Do you have any
Oh,
it was
maybe
ju-
that's the
I was just
strat.
happy it wasn't Super Mario Party. I
Maybe you
played that game
download
so
Pummel
much.
Party to play one match,
And then refunded.
and then don't play it again.
Oh yeah, I could do that.
But before we wrap it up for the evening, it is my pleasure to announce what we'll be playing for August.
Come on, Genshin Impact.
Metro Sim Hustle. Let's go.
I was really tempted to pick Dark Souls. but I'm not picking Dark Souls.
Because none of us would play it.
Just because I know it would make you all miserable. So instead, I
Genshin
picked
Impact.
another
Dark
classic
Souls-esque game.
Oh, see my big phone. Is it Code Vein?
another classic game. A
Classic
Sekiro.
game.
that is held in very, very high regards. For August, we will be playing the original Metal Gear Solid.
Oh, fuck off. I hate stealth games.
Which is available on GOG on PC, so you don't need an emulator if you don't want to emulate it.
Can I just go watch the Let's Play we did
Nope.
of it? Oh.
Wait, so we're
Does
talking.
it not have tank controls?
Yep, we are talking OG
No, it's not
PlayStation
it's not
1.
tank controls. It's not tank controls. To my knowledge. Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
it's not tank controls.
It's
No, it's
definitely
like
not tank
top
controls.
down. You're like top
maybe I
down.
just whip out my PlayStation 1, you know?
Yeah, if you want to do that, you can do that.
No, I'm not doing that. Don't know where it is.
But yes, you can either emulate it or it is available on GOG for like £7, I think.
I didn't realize you could get MGS1 on PC.
1 and 2 are on PC.
Damn.
So yes, join us in August where we'll be playing Metal Gear Solid. But for now, it's goodbye from Hans.
I'll play some Genshin Impact instead.
Hans isn't going to join us for next month.
A goodbye from Alex.
Bye.
A goodbye from IY.
See you later.
And a goodbye from myself. Toodaloo.